Good evening, Unashamed Student Ministries. Hopefully everyone's having a great Monday. We all know that we have a special service coming up on Sunday that the youth will be putting on. We're going to meet at 4:45 for prayer for that service, and then at 5 p.m. that service will start. We have Brother Anthony Ortiz from Calvary Apostolic Church that's going to be coming and bringing the Word. But for this service, we want to pray and fast, and we did a random poll today, just reaching out to the youth in Hyphen about fasting, and we got about 50% that said they for sure knew everything about fasting. So we want to go into fasting a little bit today and the importance of fasting. So in Matthew chapter 17, the Bible talks about fasting, and it talks about how there was a man that came and said his son was a lunatic, and the man said that his son would throw himself into the fire and throw himself into the water, and that this man brought his son to the disciples, and the disciples could do nothing for him. And he went to Jesus and he told Jesus all this, and Jesus told his disciples, "O faithless and perverse generation, how long have I been with you? How long have I suffered you? Bring him to me." And Jesus rebuked the devil, and it departed out of him, and the child was cured that very same hour. Then the disciples said to Jesus, "Why could we not cast him out? Why could this not have happened through us, Jesus?" And Jesus said, "It was because of your unbelief. For I say verily unto you, if you have faith as a grain of a mustard seed, you shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. Howbeit this kind goeth out not but only by prayer and fasting." That Jesus was telling his disciples that prayer and fasting had to go behind this miraculous work, and they had to have a faith in that prayer and that fasting. So we know that prayer and fasting is something that's very essential in our walks with God. In Matthew 6, it talks about what we need, how we need to act when we fast. We cannot be, I'm hungry. We can't have that woe is me attitude when we fast. We have to, it says to anoint our heads with oil. It says to wash our face. It says to go about our daily business as we fast. So when we fast, we want to remember that when we're fasting and we're giving up meals and we're skipping meals, we need to be prayerful. We need to make sure that we're praying during these times when we would be eating. So when we look at fasting, what is it? So the Webster Dictionary definition of a fast is to abstain from all kinds of food or drink. So we have breakfast. We have breakfast in the beginning of every day. But it doesn't matter what time breakfast is after you wake up. It could be an hour after you wake up. It could be 10 hours after you wake up. You're still breaking your fast. So it's breakfast. It's break fast. And it's the first meal of the day. But fasting has such a purpose. We read in the Bible how it couldn't have been done without prayer and fasting combined together. And the purpose of fasting is to be more empowered by the Holy Ghost that's within me, by the Holy Ghost that's within you. And we don't do this to try to get more of God, but we fast so God can get more of us. So God can use us in a greater capacity, and He can use us in a greater way to cast out that spirit. I love how in verse 20 it says, "And nothing shall be impossible unto them," because of that prayer and that fasting. And a lot of times we sacrifice things in our walks with God, which is great. It's great to sacrifice things in our walks with God. It's great to sacrifice entertainment or social media or whatever takes up your time and your energy, and it's great to sacrifice these things, but we cannot make a sacrifice or fast. The Bible tells us that it's abstaining from food and drink, and we need to make sure that we understand that we understand what fasting truly is. So when we look at all this, we know the definition of fasting is to abstain from all kinds of food and drink. We know that the purpose of it is so we can be empowered by the Holy Ghost. The purpose of it is so we don't get more of God, but God gets more of us. And we know that when we do this, nothing shall be impossible unto us. So as we have this service coming up on Sunday night, I want to tell you that nothing is impossible unto us, because we're going to bind together in prayer and fasting. Because fasting kills the flesh. That's what the purpose of fasting is. It's killing our flesh. We're all born into sin. We can't free ourselves. We all have this flesh, and there's a war of the flesh and the spirit going on. And a lot of times we're feeding that flesh. But when we seriously get after fasting, we feed our spirit in a special way that we cannot do it any other way but by fasting and prayer. So we're excited for this. We're going to post in the Unashamed Student Ministry and Parent page, we're going to post the fasting chain. When you fast, we have two options. I recommend that if you're new to it or if you're unsure about it, just take one meal at a time. Just sign up. I'm going to fast this supper. I'm going to fast this breakfast. What Josie and I have used in the past is to do a Jewish fast. And it's where you would eat at 5 p.m. a supper. Tonight I would eat at 5 p.m. And then at 6 p.m. my fast would start. And it would go on until 6 p.m. the next day. So I would eat that supper so I would be full when I sleep. But then when I wake up, I would have breakfast and lunch where I could pray through the day knowing that I would still eat that next night. So we have those two different kinds of fasts that we encourage you to try out, because God is going to empower you in the Holy Ghost through that fast. When you kill that flesh, He is going to empower you in the Holy Ghost. He is going to get more of you to use you in a greater way, and then there's going to be miraculous things in the supernatural that are going to take place. But we hope to see you at prayer tomorrow night at 6:30 when we all come back together for prayer. We hope to see you on Sunday. If you have any further questions on prayer and fasting, reach out to Josie, reach out to myself. We love you all. We're thankful for each and every one of you. God bless each and every one of you. We'll see you soon.